Report. Hanging at the Fish Report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the Fish Report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the Fish Report. Hanging at the Fish Report. Hanging at the Fish Report. You got Craig and TK and Head and D. Tune in at the Fish Report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Fish Report Live, our winter sports season finale. Happy Thursday to you. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. We're your host. Back in our sound room this morning, you know who it is. It's TK and Heavy D. We'll talk to them a little bit later in the program. And, of course, out in Studio R, it's Covey and Kearns. Look forward to talking to them again this morning. And, Ken, final show of the winter sports season.
Yes, it is, Craig. We're going to be talking a lot of high school basketball, boys and girls, this morning. And, we're going to go up north, Craig, and we're going to interview the head coach of the Fort Loramie Redskins. That's Coach Corey Britton. Corey is in his fifth year with the Redskins, Craig. He's won over 70% of his games during his tenure at Fort Loramie, and he's going for his he's in his fourth straight district championship game this weekend. Excited to talk to Corey, see what he has to say about his team's chances against Cincinnati Christian. Craig, we're also going to be covering some girls brackets today. We're going to go out to Covey and Kearns, see what they have to say about the tough Vandalia Regional. Really looking forward to talking to them about that as well. So big show for us this morning. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a fun interview with Coach Britton. And like you said, his fourth straight district championship game. I think a lot of area fans out there, Ken, might have thought at the beginning of this season when it started, how in the heck he's going to get back there. He had graduated a very good senior class last year, and of course they're back in the district championships. We'll talk about that a little bit later this morning. But Ken, let's talk about those boys brackets, and we'll start out with Division 4, of course. They're on Friday. We got 3 games there at UD Arena, 1 over at Walpaw, and let's go over the bracket.
Yeah, Craig, it's going to be exciting. Division 3, we've got local teams of Versailles playing and also the Anna Rockets. Versailles, Craig, had a big win over Brookville last week. Interesting game there. The head coach of Brookville is Coach Davidson from Versailles, interestingly enough, and great win there for the Tigers. They'll take on Reading at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Interesting times here for these games of the Southwest District, 1 on Sunday afternoon. And then the Anna Rockets, Craig, I look for them to roll against Clark Montessori. That Versailles-Reading game, Craig, I think Versailles going to have their hands full with Cincinnati-Reading. But, best of luck to the Tigers and the Rockets on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, kind of interesting. They were playing on Sunday, and I was talking to some media guys earlier in the week, and I think they mentioned, with the UD Flyers actually had a game at the arena on Wednesday, and then you had other divisions playing. I just said Division 4 is going to be on Friday night. I think Division 1 maybe is playing on Saturday. Not sure when Division 2 fits in there, but the only available day would be on Sunday.
Yeah, and when it's tournament time and they all want to go play at UD Arena and you need a big facility for games like this, why not play on a Sunday? I think it'll work. I think they'll have great attendance.
Well, speaking of, I want to ask you about Versailles a little bit for our MAC viewers out there. You talked about, I mentioned Fort Loramie and what a good class they had last year. Versailles had a very nice player last year in Justin Arns, now playing at Ohio State, and they're back in this district championship game. Not quite as good as record as last year. I think they're 14-10 right now. Last year, 25-3 or 4, something like that. They finish up the season, but nonetheless, they're back in the district championship game. Are you surprised at all?
I am, Craig, but, I got to give credit to Coach Travis Schwank. I think he's done a phenomenal job over there at Versailles. He's really brought a team atmosphere into the Tigers system over there. We played against them, and I was very impressed with the way they played team basketball, their motion offense. They played hard. They played great defense. They really got down there in the trenches, Craig, and dug into it. And, they're really playing really good basketball right now. They beat a good Minster team by like 30 earlier in the year. They beat a good Russia team pretty handily, so they've had some big wins, it doesn't really surprise me. I think with the challenges that they see in the MAC day in and day out, along with their non-conference schedule, taking on Shelby County League powers of Russia, Versailles, or Russia, Loramie, and Anna, it's Coach Schwank's got them playing great basketball right now.
Yeah, and the record is 14-10 this year. Just notice that here. 21-5 is what they were last year, so very good record last year. The tournament trail, though, did end for them last year at the district championship. We'll see if they can get past that game this season. And let's talk about Division IV now, Ken. And again, 3 big games there at the arena on Friday night, including that one game in Wapak.
Yeah, Craig, as I look at the 3 local teams that are playing here at UD Arena, I look for Fort Loramie to advance. I hear Cincinnati Christian's got a nice team, but I think the Redskins' defense, I think the matchup kind of reminds me a little bit of a few years back when Russia played Cincinnati Aiken a couple years in a row. I just don't think that the Cincinnati school is going to be able to handle the defensive intensity that the Redskins are going to bring onto the floor. Jackson Center over Franklin Monroe, I think that's, if Franklin Monroe's playing good basketball right now, Jackson Center just plays too hard, too good a defense, and a couple really nice offensive weapons there for the Tigers. And St. Henry Marion Local, Craig, what a matchup, for a district championship game, 2 MAC powerhouses. That game's a toss-up. I'm really not sure who I'm going to go with on that one, but I think I'm going to go with the Marion Local Flyers. I think they got the best player on the floor, and I think when the teams are pretty equal, I'm going with the team with the best player, and that's Nate Bruns and the Marion Local Flyers.
Yeah, Nate Bruns actually averaging 20 points a game this season. On the other side, you got St. Henry with Caden Niekamp only averaging about 13 per game. But Marion Local's got the, they got the whole defending state champion thing going for them. But this is a matchup. These teams actually met twice during the regular season. And you ask, well, how did they meet twice? Well, once was during a holiday tournament back on December 29th, where St. Henry won by 5 points. And then it was like 6 days later, they meet up again in conference play. Marion Local wins that one by 5 points. And I agree with you, Bruns, very tough. We've seen both of these teams, and Caden Niekamp only averaging 13 points a game, but I think he plays bigger than when we saw him, second game of the season?
Right, yeah. I mean, that was an early game for Coach Rosenbeck. He brought his Redskins over to Russia, and honestly, Russia handled St. Henry very easily that night. Probably one of Russia's better games of the year. They played phenomenal that night, and I look back at that game, and I've seen St. Henry play, and I'm like, how did they win the MAC? How did they go 18-3? But Coach Rosenbeck obviously done some great things to that team throughout the remainder of the season, and he's had a great year. He'll have his team ready to play Friday night, I guarantee, against the Flyers.
Yeah, he's certainly been battle tested too. Had that game just against Minster there the other night, and Minster, a very good team. They've got knocked out, so that should be a fun one. We'll be looking for the updates on that one on Friday for sure. All right, Ken. Well, let's change gears now and head out to Studio R. We're going to check in with Covey and Kearns, talk a little girls basketball. And guys, good morning. Wanted to talk a little Division III basketball here this morning, but unfortunately Versailles got beat yesterday and by a very good Waynesville team, so it's just down to Division IV for the local teams. And what's your thoughts on what we've got coming up this weekend, or actually tonight?
Well, this Division IV regional isn't much different than what we've been thinking it has been the whole year. 3 of these 4 teams that are in it are returning from last year. The only one that you slide in, Legacy Christian over Covington. And you look at it and you see, wow, look at these records. I mean, just 1 loss for 3 of the teams and only 2 losses for Legacy. I think the earlier game is going to be more of a battle between Minster and Tri-Village. Tri-Village beat Cincinnati Christian by 20, and they got a real good shot, I think, more of a Legacy of beating Minster than Legacy does Loramie. I think that they're big on the inside. I don't think the guard play is going to match up as well for Tri-Village compared to Minster. I like Minster's quickness from Hoying and Wolf. So I'm going to go with the Wildcats by about 10 to 12 points in that matchup.
Yeah, you definitely said it best with a Wolf and Hoying on the outside. The Downing girls can definitely contain the Xavier commit, Courtney Pranger. We've been talking about her all year. So it's definitely going to be on the Covey throws up the X, but it's definitely going to be on Minster's outside game and make other girls score the points, because Courtney's not going to be able to do it. But like Covey said, Minster's probably got a 10-point favorite, but definitely don't count out Tri-Village. It'll probably be one of the better games of the 2 nights. Moving on to Fort Loramie and Legacy Christian playing. Fort Loramie, I think I watched Legacy Christian play. They're a solid team. They're fast, but they don't go deep onto their bench much when I watched them play. And I think Loramie's depth and their high intensity on the court is just going to run Legacy off off the floor. So look, Loramie to win that one pretty easy and see that matchup that we've probably been talking about all year, Minster-Fort Loramie rematch in the regional final.
Yeah, I don't think Legacy stands a chance against Fort Loramie. No, I mean, they've had a fantastic season, but I don't think they play near a tough enough schedule. They're 25-2, but I think their record is really deceiving. In the SAL MAC, not near as much. They got a good player by the name of Emma Hess. It's a sophomore that can shoot a real solid jump shot. But let's just be honest here. We all know this. They don't play nearly as good of a schedule as any of these three other teams do. It's a great achievement for them to get into the regionals. But you even see with their boys team, the Legacy Christian boys team, they were a number 1 seed coming in the Detroit sectional, and they got beat by a number 10 seed Newton, who isn't really a top team, so to speak. So I don't really think that Legacy's schedule has gotten them ready for a team like Fort Loramie. I think Fort Loramie cruises comfortably, and that's going to set up the state battle, State Route 66. You know, the battle we've been talking about all year long. And I got the nod to call the game for NK Telco, and to say the least, I'm really excited for it. If it does happen, I mean, it's got to happen. I mean, no disrespect to Tri-Village and Legacy, because if they'd advance it would be a good game as well. But if it is Fort Loramie and Minster, that Student Activity Center at Vandalia Butler High School is going to be packed to the rafters. But you might see some MAC fans splitting their decision between going to the St. Henry Marion game or maybe a Minster-Loramie matchup. I'm not going to make a call on that game. I think it's going to be too tight of a ball game. Since I'm calling it, I'm just not going to make a prediction, but it's going to be one fantastic ball game if the first game was any indication of it.
Kobe, you sound like Kirk Herbstreit saying, I'm not going to make a prediction on this one because I'm calling the game.
That's what I'm copying.
Well, what's your thoughts on just the fact that we've got the 1, 2, and 3 teams in the state ranked in the final state poll are all in that Southwest region? And I'll tell you one other thing too. I'm not going to pick against. I'm not going to say anything against Tri-Village because Ken and I made that mistake once several years ago, and we were wrong, and we sure heard about it. I know that.
Yeah, that just shows the strength of the Southwest District and how much respect they get from the media writers around the state. And yeah, if there's any Tri-Village listeners out there, I'm not throwing any disrespect. You play in one of the toughest regions in the area. You throw them in any of the 3 other regions, I'm sure they're going to be going to Columbus. But they're running into a buzzsaw, I think, in Minster, and it's unfortunate because the great teams they've had, they've lost in the regional semis the past 2 years, and hopefully for them they don't make it 3 in a row. They've got a great team coming back next year, and they'll have Trisha Porter back. I believe their 8th grade team didn't even lose a game in junior high. So I think Tri-Village will be that team to compete against Loramie if we want to go looking at the 2019-2020 early ranking, so to speak.
You know, you look at Tri-Village's draw per se in that regional. So just say if you're a Patriot fan, you know, we pull the upset. We knock off the Minster Wildcats. Sorry, but now you got to beat the Fort Loramie Redskins. So, I mean, what a tough ticket to get to Columbus if you're a Patriot fan.
No kidding, and they're gonna have an uphill battle. But like I said, if they were in any other of the regions of the state, you know, I think they would get to Columbus no problems. And quick note on Division III, for anyone out there, that Waynesville-Purcell Marion game is going to be very good Saturday. But I don't think anyone's going to dethrone the Columbus Afrocentric Nubians. For any fans out there that want to get some info, Columbus Afrocentric has a girl by the name of Jordan Horston. She's ranked number 2 in the ESPN 100 Hoops Girls rankings, and she's going to play for the University of Tennessee. I don't see anyone decrowning the Nubians, and I see them winning back-to-back state titles.
That's good stuff, guys.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks for that. It's going to be awfully exciting this weekend. Can't wait till Monday morning to see how all this shakes out, both in the girls' regional and in the boys' district. So with that, we're going to take a short break, but stay right there. When we come back, we're going to talk some more boys basketball, including that big interview with Fort Loramie coach Corey Britton.
Town in the motherland, and you were born with heart, raised on pride. This is gonna go wrong through your
And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, Ken and I were breaking down those district championship games coming up at UD Arena on Friday night. And that brings us to our next guest. He is taking the Fort Loramie Redskins to their fourth consecutive district championship game after winning the sectional title there at Piqua Garbage Gymnasium. Of course, Ken, I guess now they're calling that final game there at Piqua the district semifinals. But needless to say, again, the Redskins will once again be playing there on Friday night. We welcome to the show now Coach Corey Britton. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live.
Hey, thanks for having me again, guys.
Well, listen, the Southwest District Athletic Board now refers to that final game as the district semifinals. That's going to take a little bit for me to get used to. How about you?
Actually, I'm a Northwest Ohio guy, born and raised, so that's how they do it up north. So for me, it's pretty common. It's different going back to it now after having 4 years of having it being the sectional championship. But in Northwest Ohio, you play 2 games at one gym, then you play district semifinals and the district finals at another gym. So for me, being a Northwest Ohio guy, that's just the norm, I guess. It's what I grew up on.
All right, well, good stuff. Well, let's go back to the beginning of this season. I want to go back for just a second, Coach. And coming off last season, came off a very successful year, had a very, very good team. It was a 25-win season for you, and you graduated that great senior class. Just one starter coming back in junior Nick Brandaway this season. And Coach, you got off to kind of a slow start in the league at just 1-3. And the chatter I heard from around the area was, boy, it's going to be tough for Fort Loramie to get back to that district championship game. And here you are. You're there now. How did this team come together?
Oh, I mean, not to make any excuses, but I think we practiced 5 times and played 3 games. That's pretty tough to do. Our football team had an amazing run to the state semifinals, so we got off to a little slow start, and we were missing one of our better players for the greater part of the first month of the season, and Nathan Rotterman. But once we got rolling, I think we got a big confidence booster. The night we played you guys in that classic double overtime game at our place, and we sort of just took off from there, and things seemed to blend together pretty well. So I'm really happy for our kids to sticking with it and fighting through the adversity, and I'm glad they're seeing the benefits of it all now.
Coach, good morning. Ken Francis here, and appreciate you being on our show with us this morning. Craig talked a little bit about the good group of seniors you lost last year, but replacing them is another good group of seniors. Having a senior son myself, I'm pretty familiar with the most of them. You mentioned Nathan Ratterman already. But for all of our viewers out there, tell them all a little bit about some of your other seniors on the team and how important of a role they've played for you this year.
We have 5 just tremendous young men in our program this year. Eli Rosengarten, Carter Mesher, Nathan Rotterman, Mason Kemper, and I knew I was going to miss one, and Jake Rotterman. And they're just phenomenal young men, and they are the catalyst of our team. We start 4 seniors and Nick, and then when Nick got hurt a couple weeks ago, we just inserted Carter into the starter lineup, and we just started our 5 seniors, and everybody brings something a little bit different. Eli brings that score mentality to the floor. Nathan Rotterman brings that shooter. Mason Kemper's our tough guy, our bully inside, we like to call him. And Jake Rotterman's just that leader. And Carter Mesher's just that great athlete and great defensive-minded player. So with those 5 seniors, they're probably one of the most successful senior classes to ever come through Loramie. If you want to look at what they've done in baseball and football and basketball, they're just winners, and they've just been leading us from the get-go.
Coach, you talked about earlier in the season, you had a lot of change there. You had lost the senior class from the year before. You had some injuries. Kind of had a new coaching staff. They came off a big football season. So you got off to a late start, and you had some injuries. You kind of got healthy in the middle of the year, and then late in the year, an injury to who I feel is a key ingredient on your team and has been for a couple years, and that's junior Nick Brandaway. How is his health right now, and how is the team? Are they ready to go for Friday night? How's the overall health of the team?
We're pretty healthy for the most part. I mean, no different than anybody else that plays a long football season and gets into the district finals. We have our bumps and bruises, but we'll have all 15 guys dressed and ready to go and try to compete against a really good basketball team in Cincinnati Christian.
Coach, speaking of the Cougars, you take on Cincinnati Christian Cougars tomorrow night, and they come in at 20-5. I don't know a whole lot about them, to be honest with you, but I'm sure you do. What can you tell us about them, and what's it going to take for the Redskins to get a district championship on Friday night?
Cincinnati Christian's one of the best teams that we'll face all year, and we pride ourselves on playing a pretty good schedule. They have great size, they have great athleticism. They'll start 6'6", 6'4", 6'4", 6'3", and 6'1" on Friday night. So they're going to test us with their length. And the 6'6" kid is a very good player, and they got a really good 6'3" athlete that plays the wing for them that's going to Bluffton next year. And their best player happens to be a freshman, which is their coach's son, and he's just really good. He went for, I believe, 24 in their sectional championship win last Saturday night. They like to get it up and down. They like to play high-pressure defense. We're going to have to dictate the tempo and keep them out of the lane if we want a chance to win.
Coach, it's your fourth consecutive year of bringing the Redskins to UD Arena. I got to let you know I'm a huge Dayton Flyer fan, and I feel that's one of the greatest NCAA venues in the whole country. I might be a little biased, but I really believe it is, especially with the remodel project that they're doing right now. You've also played in another pretty famous gym this year, not quite as famous as UD Arena, but that's Hoosier Gymnasium over in Knightstown. Even though these two gyms are totally different, how can they be similar as you prepare your team for Friday night?
Oh, I think the excitement that the kids have playing at the Hoosier Gym, and then they'll have Friday night playing at UD Arena, will be very comparable. And the trip that we had out to Hoosiers was perfect. Played a great basketball team in Strasburg, who's playing for a district championship on Friday night as well. And we had a great following, but there's nothing like UD. It's a goal every year to find a way to get out of Piqua and play for a district championship down at the University of Dayton. And you're right. It's I don't know. There's a lot of places better. The old Anderson Arena at Bowling Green was a great venue to play, but I don't know if it has quite the atmosphere as UD Arena does. And we've every last 4 years, except for this year, we've always gotten to practice in there over Christmas break. The schedules just didn't align this year, but our kids are really excited to go down to UD. We're letting out of school at 2 p.m., so hopefully we get a great following and we can play pretty well.
Coach, listen, we got just a minute here. I want to ask one more question, though. But I want to tell you, I really admire what you've done with this program these last several years or since you've been there. And not only your ability to be successful, but just some of the little things you've done. And you run this, one of the few coaches I know of in this area that runs a summer shootout. You've been doing that for a while. Ken mentioned the Hoosier thing over there, taking your kids over there. I know you did that Holiday Helpers thing for a while where you were giving toys to the needy down in the Dayton area. Why do you do those things? I mean, when it's not really required of coaches, why are you doing these extra little things?
Well, I mean, as a high school basketball coach, you do everything to give experience to our student athletes and just trying to build lasting memories for our kids, whether it's playing a basketball game or going to pass out toys at Dayton Children's Hospital. Just give them experiences that they might not get all the time and something they'll remember forever, because I always tell our kids this every year that the wins and losses won't be what they remember. It's the bus rides or doing special things with your teammates and hanging out and the team meals and all those things like that that just bring our team together and let us build camaraderie. And for me, it's something that I love to do. I love doing things for our kids, and those things have turned out to be great experiences, and hopefully we can continue to do them next year and years in the future.
Well, listen, Coach, that's good stuff. We appreciate you being on our show this morning. You're doing a great job with the Redskin program over there, and make Shelby County League proud on Friday night.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. We'll do our best.
Take care.
Thanks, Coach. And that was the head coach of the Fort Loramie Redskins, Corey Britton. And Ken, again, really remarkable what he's done the last 4 years, taking them to the district championship game. And as good as the Shelby County Athletic League is year in and year out, it's been a little while since a school's done that. I think it was the Anna Rockets, the last school to do it 4 consecutive years. That was from 07 to 10. So, again, doing big things over there, and done a lot in his short time at Fort Loramie. Speaking of Shelby County Athletic League coaches, he's been there a short time, but there was one that was there for a long time that just retired here from Troy, actually.
Yes, he did, Craig, and that's Coach Paul Bremagen of coached 35 years for the Russia Raiders. 35 years total, 31 of those at Russia. I just loved watching Paul coach over those years. I thought he was a great X's and O's guy. I thought he just did a phenomenal job with the kids. I think he inspired them. He did so many good things for the Russia community. So hats off, congratulations to Coach Bremagen, as well as his wife Joyce for all the games that she's been through. I talked to her. I asked her. I know he's coached over 800 games, and I said, how many did you miss? And she said, I don't know, but I could probably count them on 2 hands. So that's not very many misses. So, but, again, great man. He's done great things for a lot of kids in our community.
Yeah, 471 wins during that time. Was a guest on the show many times, actually our second ever guest, and always gracious in putting up with us, 2 characters when we asked him to be on the show. So, and it was kind of neat. I put something out on Twitter when he did retire a few days ago, found out about it. Kind of neat to see all the comments from people in the area, just that memories of him, and just thanking him for all that he did. So
pretty good track coach too, from what I hear.
That's right. We had a comment on his track coaching days too, so that was pretty neat as well. Well, let's head back to the sound room and check in with TK and Heavy D here this morning, guys. We're wrapping up the winter sports season with the finale here this morning, and what do we got? What's going on with you back there?
Well, looking at stars of the week, actually, with all the games being played right now, there really aren't any stars, but that's probably what you expect. If you're going to win games right now, it's got to be a team win. Typically in Shelby County MAC, you're not having one kid out there throwing down 38 or something like that and leading the team on to victory. So I honestly don't have a star of the week. I did want to give a shout out to Coach Bremagen. You guys already, I think, touched on all the highlights there, and just thank him for bringing his love of basketball to this area and all he's done for the student athletes at Russia and Troy. And I think a big part of the legacy and the reputation and respect of Shelby County League has to be a little bit on Paul's shoulder and what he's done at Russia and to help out Shelby County basketball in this area. So thanks again, Coach, for that.
Yeah, he's been a legend, that's for sure. And Heavy D, got just a minute here. Anything left in the mailbag from the winter sports season?
Scratching the bottom. Dear Heavy, it is Lent season starting last night with Ash Wednesday. What are you giving up for Lent? Well, unfortunately, I'm giving up high school basketball. Sorry, Daniel.
Yeah, that happened.
And trying to give up beer. 40 days of no beer. So we'll see if we can make a go of that.
Your 2 favorite things:
Yeah.
high school basketball and beer.
Yeah,
that's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with
stuff,
that,
guys.
Good luck with that. All right, great stuff, guys. Thanks for that. And with that, that's going to wrap up things here for the winter sports season, Ken.
Yes, it will. One other shout out I'd like to wish we talked to Coach Britton tonight. I'd like to congratulate Coach Scott Elkert, Jackson Center Tigers. I didn't get a chance to mention them much. I think Scott's he's done a phenomenal job at Jackson Center. He's a great coach. Wish them the best of luck as well in the district championship game Friday night.
Yeah, another former guest, been on this show a few times, and always fun to talk to Scott as well. Well, Ken and I and the crew, we're all going to take a couple weeks off, recharge our batteries here a little bit, and we'll come back for the baseball, softball, and track and field season. That should be fun, and we'll wrap up the 2018-19 season with that.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, with that, thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you in a couple weeks, and have a great day.
Hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fishing pond. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole when you tune in to the fishing pond. Hanging at the fishing pond.